And it only takes two, honestly. It only takes like one or two. Because without shin guards, full powered, a full blast low kick to the thigh or to the calf that we're seeing in MMA now, the fight can be over. I mean, we saw it with Conor. You know, that's one of the many tools that Dustin kind of used to like beat up Conor. But in every fight, a leg kick is a useful tool. But that's a big thing. I meet a client and like I tell a client, I'm like, yeah, so in my last fight, you know, I kicked this guy in the head like 5 times. And they'll be like, no, you didn't. There's no way you could do that. You know, like question like, no, you didn't. You know what I mean? Like just like, and then I'm like, okay. and then we.
I'll kick you in the head 5 times. See what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't try to kick you guys in the head. I try to keep everything low, especially you. You're so tall and so short. You know, I'm trying to kick you in the head. It's just too much now.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
it would be hard to. It would be hard to do podcasts with CTE.
Yeah,
I could get it done. There would just be a lot more spacing between words. It'd be like, so. What was I gonna say?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we whenever I spar in the gym afterwards, if we have a hard session, we start yelling at each other. We go CTE. It's, I don't know. There's a bit of that,
like a CTE chant, like cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Give me a C.
Yeah.
Give me a T.
Yeah, it's
Give
pretty.
me an E.
It's pretty meatheady. But obviously you don't want to get CTE. You know.
Yeah, we have to put that in as a disclaimer. We're anti-CTE on this podcast.
Yeah.
Just in case the CTE gang comes after us.
Yeah.
So something I wanted to get into is, how did you originally get into fighting and Muay Thai specifically? Because we met up, this was June of 2020. So you had already been fighting for, I think, 6 or 7 years.
I've been doing Muay Thai.
Been Muay Thai for 7 years. How did you originally get into Muay Thai? What drew you to Muay Thai?
Well, I started boxing when I was 6 because I'm Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican, and like if you're Puerto Rican, you know the national sport is boxing, and everyone boxes on that island. Like it's part of the culture, and both my parents boxed, my grandparents boxed, and so that was great. I grew up boxing and competing in boxing. But as I got older, I think, I don't know, I kind of distanced myself from my dad because my dad went to prison. And I ended up sort of like in a time period where I wasn't competing. And funny enough, I went to video games and I found the UFC, the old UFC games. And I started playing that and I was like, damn, it's pretty crazy. Then I watched WEC for the first time, and I don't know if you know Anthony Pettis, but
the name sounds familiar.
He's the guy who ran off the cage and did like a cage run head kick, and that was the first MMA fight I ever saw. And then after that, I was like, all right, I need to go to jiu-jitsu gym. I went to a place in the Bronx. I couldn't afford it, so I asked them if I could like clean the gym, and I was able to, and then I started competing in jiu-jitsu. But eventually same kind of deal happened. Like I started like after doing 6 years of jiu-jitsu, I kind of realized that like I was this boxing jiu-jitsu kind of guy, and I still didn't feel like fully, I didn't feel like I could still use my full body, you know? And so, I ended up looking for a Muay Thai gym in the city, and yeah.
So you started with jiu-jitsu first, and then you got into Muay Thai around the time you saw that first fight you were saying with Anthony Pettis?
Yeah. Oh, I got into jiu-jitsu because of the Anthony Pettis fight. Even though like him running off the cage and kicking the guy in the head wasn't jiu-jitsu, it was just MMA started to interest me. And then, you know, once I realized that that's not what you do in jiu-jitsu, I realized that Muay Thai was kind of the way to go because I was actually a really good boxer. And then funny story, the first time I ever sparred Muay Thai, I sparred this champion from Bangladesh. I was a kid. I was like maybe 16. This guy was like, I don't know.
This is the first time you sparred Muay Thai?
Ever Muay Thai. I had really good boxing, so I was lighting guys up, but this guy was a different level. I didn't know how to use my legs the way I do now. This guy dropped me with a body kick. Yeah, dropped me with a body kick. And I remember like it hit me right in the liver, and it's like a surge of pain came through my whole body. And after that, I was like, all right. And so, yeah, I started skipping school to go to Muay Thai. And
Yeah, I can't believe you sparred a champion from Bangladesh your first time in Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And you get dropped with a body kick. I feel like a lot of people at that point would be like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
I'm out. And you got hit and you felt like you wanted to keep going. You wanted to figure out whatever it was that guy did to you to open you up.
Yeah, I yes. But also I think just from boxing, I knew that I had better hands than the guy. And I knew if all I had to do was get in and I'd be able to light him up. But because of those kicks, and then once I finally got in, I started getting better. Clinch was a whole different world. Elbows, knees, tosses, throws, you know? Even with doing jiu-jitsu for a while too, like it was hard for me to stop them. And Muay Thai ended up kind of becoming like my full-time thing. Like I do love MMA, but I don't think I would ever want to do it for real. For real, I think I just want to keep going pro and Muay Thai and just stay that path in kickboxing and go down that path, you know?